All right, here goes. So what we're going to do is we're going to start on 3D. So I handed out this sample 3D part. And in years past, I'd take you through doing wireframe and learning how to do wireframe, and then we would convert it into solids. But we're not going to take that approach because most of you can create parts in solids in other programs. Yes? Probably a lot easier. Everything pretty much comes right into Mastercam. I did have an issue. I have an old version of Inventor, and I had trouble getting the Inventor part in as a straight IPT part. But you can always convert it to a step file, or a step file is the best because the step files do solids. You can convert it to a step file, then you can read it directly. So to kind of demonstrate this, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to read in a ProE part, which is of course now Creo, but it's ProE. So if you go, and you may have to copy it, you'll definitely have to save it from somewhere else. We want to go to CNC Programming 2, and we want to go to Class Examples. And down here where it says Mastercam EDU files, we want to say, we want to find the ProE files. And right here is ProE. Not too far under AutoCAD. Okay. And it'll show some parts, and we want sample 3D part 2016. Okay? Everybody get it? All right. Go to an isometric view. Okay? And look at the part a little bit. Just like you see in the drawing, you can kind of see what this part is like. All right? Now, what we're going to spend some time on. Are you guys all right? I can pause, and I can help. Okay, so kind of take a look at it. The biggest thing with 3D, what we're going to have to learn to deal with now, when we were dealing with strictly 2D, everything was already in the top construction plane, in the top WCS. So whenever you go to 3D now, we're going to have to move our WCS and our tool plane and everything. And you're going to have to keep track of that at all times, or else you're going to have major issues. Okay? So as we look at this part, we see that the X and Y is here and the Z is this way. And at this point, everything lines up with that. I don't have my tooling plane's not shown because I don't have a machine group yet. Okay? Everything is linked together so that if I go to the front view, it assumes that's the front. It assumes this is the top. It assumes this is the front. This is the side. And then the isometric view looks like that. Okay? So your construction plane, your WCS, and your view planes are all tied together. What we're going to do in this class mostly is we're going to learn how to manage that and get it in the way we want it. Now, this is a 3D part. Can I use the 2D toolpaths that we've learned so far to machine this part? Absolutely, right? What does each face represent? Well, it represents a setup, right? If I want to get to the face, it represents a setup. Okay? So I can machine all the toolpaths we've learned so far we can use on this part. They're just going to be different toolpath groups. And that's what we're going to walk through. So we can use everything we've done so far. All right? To get to the WCS, because what I want is I actually want this to be the top of the part. And I want to put my PRZ here. And I want to machine that. And then this is going to be my front face, and then I'll do another setup, and I'll do the front, and then I'll set it up to do this. Okay? So I need to be able to move my WCS around and set it the way I want it. All right? And when I set the WCS, the views are going to go with it. Okay? So let me show you what I mean. So we're going to be working with this a lot down here in planes. Okay? We're going to be using the plane manager quite a bit. These are all shortcuts. Okay? But we're going to be using the plane manager. And this is the plane manager. All right? There's 3 planes that we've got to keep track of. The WCS, the construction plane, and the tooling plane. The tooling plane sets the z-axis of the tool, which is the axis of the tool. The z-axis is that. So we have to keep those together. This already has the default views set up, but it doesn't match what we want to do, so we're going to create new construction planes. So the first thing I say is I want to create a new construction plane. Well, that's accomplished over here, and you get to decide what you want to use. Well, I'm dealing with a solid face is real easy. Let's use the solid face. So I click on that, and it prompts me to select a flat solid face. Well, I want the top to be the new top, right? So whenever you select the surface, you can cycle through for different orientations. All right? But it's fairly smart, and it kind of assumes you pretty much want that. And this is what I want. I want the longest axis to be X. I want this to be the Y. I want this to be the Z. So I say OK. Okay? Now this is really important. Okay? The first thing we're going to do is we're going to name it, and for lack of originality, I'm going to name it my top. Okay. The other thing we're going to do, because we're going to have multiple setups, is we're going to use multiple work offsets. We're going to use G54, G55, G56. Well, if you click this, okay, you want the work offset number. 0 lines up with G54. If it's 1, it's G55. If it's 2, it's G56. Okay? So we're going to set that to 0. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to pick the origin. All right, you can specify the coordinates, or you can pick. Right now it's at 0.75, 0.75, Z 1.5, because it's based on this. So, but we want the origin to be here, and we can just bring it over and click. We want our PRZ to be there. And then we want to set this as our WCS. Okay. Everybody with me so far? Pretty straightforward. Then we say OK. And as we look over here, we see that our WCS icon moved, and it's at the PRZ. That's the X, that's the Y. Okay, and then we also see here, this is critical. Whenever you go to add toolpaths, you have to make sure that these all line up, because they can get separated for a variety of reasons, and it's easy to do. And if they get separated, which means WCS could be up here, C could be here, tooling could be here. Okay? What you do is you line up on your top and you hit this equals button. Okay? And it'll bring everything in. For example, before I leave, if I go to top and I hit equal, it moves everything there. But I want to come back to here, I click here and hit equal, it brings everything there. All right, that's very, very important. Because if not, it'll load the toolpath in the wrong plane, and you'll get all kinds of weird errors. All right, so make sure you're on my top, you've hit equals, and you have your WCS, C, and T. Okay, and we hit OK. Now, when I do my views, everything is lined up to the WCS. All right. Do I want to show you this part? No. We'll do more with solids. Let's continue with this. All right. So let's add some toolpaths. So first thing we have to do is we have to add our machine type. We want our concept mill. We're going to open up our machine groups, and we are going to go to Files first. Okay, if I had the wrong machine, I could replace it here. I want to get the right tool library, so go get your MCO. Go get your operations library. Where did you keep your operations file? I think mine is in here. I don't remember if I did the pocket, though. I don't know that I exported the pocket. Okay. And we could say, then we can just go over to stock setup. And we want to display it first. And this is important. We never really looked at this, but your stock plane has to be correct. It has to be on the WCS that you just created. You could make it anything, but obviously we're working in this plane, so that's what we want. We want it set up to that. So you have to make sure that this references the WCS that we just created. And then we go to wireframe, and we're going to do bounding box. And all you have to do is select the solid, hit enter, or say OK. Put your PRZ up in the corner. It's got the size right. What? Yeah. No, because we used the dialog box and we picked that. You see where I picked it? Yeah. But that's a good point. And I think if you did it now, I don't think it would change anything. I did. See, I shouldn't have done that. Damn it, Steve, you made me mess it up. Damn it, Steve is recorded. It'll be up on YouTube this afternoon, so. Okay? Everybody with me? You having problems back there? Okay, so we make sure our WCS is up here. If for some reason it isn't, right? We go to planes, plane managers, and see. You got to watch that. All right. And everything else should be right. So make sure that your tools and your construction plane match your WCS. All right. Okay, so we can import. We're going to high-speed mill. We're going to assume we're going to throw this in a vise, and we're going to high-speed mill this pocket. We're going to rough it, and then we're going to use our contouring toolpath to finish it. If we wanted the bottom finished, we could use our pocketing toolpath, which I forgot to export. But okay, so we right mouse click and we go to import. Oh, I did. So maybe we'll do that to finish. We'll see. So we want to do 2D high-speed milling. Now this is very critical for those of you who are flying through ahead. You probably missed something. The big thing you have to make sure of now is because we're going to be in different planes. All right? If you check nothing at the top, what will happen is it'll bring in the plane used here. Well, that would have just been top because we were just dealing with 2D. So what I have to make sure I select is assign current system tool and construction planes. That way it will use this, and you'll be able to see once we add it. So then you can go ahead and add it. And no, we're going to eventually say yes to this, but right now we're going to say no again, and it brought it in. And then we can close it. This is how you check and make sure that you brought it in right. You look right here where it says 2D high speed dynamic mill. Look for your WCS as my top. What's your tooling plane, my top? Okay. Those have to match or else you're going to have issues. Okay, so let's go to parameters. Okay. Just like we did before, but we have to select our geometry. We're going to be using solids instead. So I want to stay inside, and I'm going to select the pocket, and I'm going to select machining chains. But I'm dealing with a solid, so that makes my life a little bit easier in some ways. So right now we are clicked on wireframe. So here what I want to do is click on solids. Okay. Now I can grab faces, edges, and or loops. All right. Now very carefully what I want to do is I want to grab the bottom of the pocket. And there's a reason that I want to do that. I could grab this edge. I could grab this edge, but I'm just going to hit on the face, and when you hit on the face, it's going to grab the edge. And these are how you change what you want to select. Okay? So you have to be in solids. And when you select it, it'll highlight yellow, and we'll say, okay, that's what I want. And I don't know if you saw the arrow or not, but that shows the arrow. Okay. For our tool, we're going to use a 1/4 inch flat end mill. And do our speeds and feeds look right? Is that what you guys got? I see some yeses and I see some. That's what I got. What do you got, Joe? Oh, okay. All right. So we go to cut parameters. And you know what? We're going to finish this with a pocket. So no, we'll do that with another one. This one we'll just leave. So we'll leave 50 thousandths on the wall. We're going to finish the walls. We don't care as much about the floor. We're going to leave step over at 25. The pocket is only 1/8 of an inch, so we don't need to do depth cuts. We will do a profile entry motion. That's our default. We're not rest material. We're not breaking through. Now, what I want to demonstrate to you under linking parameters is now we can use incremental. Okay? And we can make this 0. Why can I do that? Because I selected the face and it grabbed the loop at the bottom. So now this incremental it'll go to the geometry selected. I no longer have to specify it in absolute terms. If I grab the geometry, it grabbed this chain right here. So by saying incremental, it'll go to that depth. Nope. Incremental is totally different here. Incremental is relative to the geometry that you've selected for that toolpath. It means relative to that, not to the absolute coordinate system, which is what absolute means. Okay? With me? All right. So we selected, we should have ended up selecting everything. So now we can do generate dirty and regenerate. We should have something like that. We could backplot it. You crashed? You have a chain problem? What's it say? Your toolpath, your TPlane, your planes are messed up. That's usually what that means. You have to be in my top. when you bring your toolpath in. Otherwise, it might have assumed. Let me ask you this. Look at your, does this say my top? That does say my top. All right, they're out of sync. Yeah. What you have to do is you have to go back. You pretty much just, let's see. I don't know if you can change that. If you go to planes, right here without deleting it, you should be able to set them all to my top. Otherwise, delete it and bring it in right. And if you click on this, it'll let you select what you want. Okay, these all have to match. That's because what it was doing is you've got a circle laying on it based on the projection plane, they overlap. That's why it was giving you that error. You know how I know that? Because I've done that before. That's how I know that. All right. Kind of cool. All right, let's finish it. Let's finish that, and we'll use just the contour to finish it. So this is what we've been doing. We're doing more of the same. I'm going to select contour. I'm going to assign current system tool and construction plate. Now, Steve, before you do that, you got right? Because you can go to planes, plane manager, and hit equals to make sure everything lines up. Make sure you set assign current system tool and construction planes. Did I do that wrong because I was listening? I did do that wrong. What did I do wrong? I didn't want that. No. There we go. All right, so I go to parameters. I'm going to change geometry. It takes me to the chain manager. I right mouse click and I say rechain all. And there is a chance that last will work. And last will work. So instead of, since we're doing the same geometry, you know what, that might be a problem with contour. Maybe I should say edge. Let's not do that. Let's say edge. Nope. I want this. There we go. Did it give you an error? I don't know that it will. It probably won't. All right. So we're going to use the 1/4 inch tool again. Our cut parameters, yes, we want it left, because if you notice the direction of my arrow, you still have to watch. The direction of my arrow was counterclockwise. That's what we want for climb. It's only 1/8 of an inch. We do not need to do depth cuts, but we do want to do lead in, lead out, because it's a finished pass, because we left 50 thousandths on there, so we will use lead in, lead out. Otherwise, the tool will come straight down and then go around, which might not give you the nice surface finish you want. Linking parameters are incremental and 0. Regenerate. Let's take a look at it. come in, it'll come in and start cutting real nice. Go around. And then come off the part with the lead out. All right. Yeah. What? No, we're good. Okay. All right. So let's rename this toolpath because we're done on the top. So we're gonna go here and right mouse click and then go groups and rename, and we're gonna call this rough and finish roof for roo. Rough and finish my top. Okay. All right. Let's do another side. You guys are really milking this, aren't you? What do you mean it doesn't work the same way as this? All right. So now what we're going to work on is the side. We want to do the side. All right. What's the first thing we do? Change the planes. Create a new plane. So we go to the plane manager. Come over here and we say solid face again. We pick that face. We accept it. We want to work offset, and it'll automatically increment it for you. It'll increment it to 1. And let's call this side. We'll just call it side. So we'll be using G55. Will be the work offset. And then we'll click on set new origin, and we'll put the new origin down here, and we'll say set as WCS. And we'll say good, and everything should line up. Construction, tooling, WCS. All lines up. We're going to say OK. I'm just going to leave it in this orientation to do my toolpath. I see my T is in the right direction, my construction. All right. So all we have to do is really add the high-speed dynamic mill to rough it out. Okay. So we're going to import. We're going to do the 2D high speed. We're going to make sure that we assign the current system tool and construction planes. And we're going to say OK. Now, before you say no, Joe, you did it too late, I'm sure. You hit yes because we're going to do a different setup. So this is a different toolpath group. So we're going to say yes. Okay. This is a new setup, so we can do that as a, all these toolpath groups is just ways of organizing your program. Okay. We're going to use it as to indicate our new setup. Okay. We're going to go to our parameters. Oh, I brought in the wrong one, didn't I? Dang it. I know. Sorry, guys. No, I'm recording. It doesn't matter. I don't usually do... and people love it when I make a mistake. So. All right. So I'll go to parameters. We'll go to our machining region. We're going to stay inside. Use the same approach we did last time. We'll do a face. We'll grab the bottom of the pocket. Say OK. Our tool, we'll use a 1/4 inch tool again. Cut parameters. we're going to leave 50 thousandths on the bottom this time because we want to go back and finish it. We're going to use a pocketing toolpath to go back and finish it. It's 3/8 deep, so we are going to use depth cuts, and we're going to stay at half the diameter of the tool. We'll play it conservative, so we'll go down 1/8. We'll leave our entry motion set to profile, our linking parameters incremental and 0. Regenerate. All right. Let's backplot it, see what it looks like. All right, so just for safety purposes, let's save this. All right. Now let's add our, let's do a pocket to finish the sides and the floor. Assign current tool system, pocket. And Jesse is correct. No. Let's go to parameters. We are going to need to change the tool. We want a 1/4 inch. Make sure you get the right speeds and feeds. So after you select it, I just right mouse clicked and reinitialize. Our cut parameters. The pocket island facing is fine. No, that's not. No, it's a standard. It's just a standard pocket. My bad. We do need to change that. It is a standard. We're not roughing because it's already roughed. We're going to finish. And seems like, is there anything else I want to do? I do want lead in, lead out. Now, do I want to do depth cuts on the sides? No, I don't really need to do that. So we can finish it all because we're just taking 50 thousandths off. What did I forget to do? My geometry. I'm going to go to incremental. We need to go back and grab our chain. Let's try last and see if this works. I just said last, which we grabbed the pocket, the bottom of the face last time. Let's see if this works. I'm missing something here, guys. We left stock on the bottom, on the floor. Mine doesn't finish it. It's because we clicked last. Yeah, it just did the outside. Mine's not doing that. What's that? Anybody have any ideas? You guys finished the bottom? No, mine's not doing it. How about anybody's? All right. Okay, so what we had to do was you have to make sure that you have roughing on. And I picked this true spiral because I think it looks cool. All right. Okay, let's finish this. Let's finish it. Let's rename this. Rough and finish side. All right. Okay, let's do the auxiliary plane now. Okay, so I go to planes, plane manager. I'm going to create it from solid face. I'm going to click on this top face. Now I'm probably going to have to play around with the plane a little bit to get it to line up. Oh, I had to do one whole click. No big deal. What? It's this top. It's not the bottom. It's this. Well, Z has to be up. And doesn't matter. It's how you're going to put it up. Maybe that's the way my fixturing is. Right? You can do whatever you want. I'm going to do it that way. That's the way I'm going to do it. It's set as WCS. All right. This is good. We're going to call it aux. AUX. Aux plane. Work offsets at WCS. I picked my corner. We good? Everything is equal. Okay. Now, you just go finish it. Let's just do a pocket, do a high-speed pocket, and then do, I'm sorry, 2D high-speed dynamic mill, and then just contour. Don't leave any stock on the bottom, and just leave 50 thousandths on the outside, and then do a contour to clean it up. I'll let you do that. All right, so I'm going to import, and now I'm going to do face, assign current. And we're going to see how this works. Let's go to parameters. Remember, we never select any geometry. We do want the 40 millimeter tool. Cut parameters, we're going to leave the same. No, we did not. And I don't want to leave anything on the floor, so we're going to leave that. Do I want to do depth cuts? Well, we have to have the face when we set it up, because we don't have a 5-axis machine. When we set it up, this face has to be, or what we want, has to be lined up with the axis correctly. This face, yeah, you're going to have to wedge it so that you're just bringing, because you got a 3-axis tool, you're just going to come down and face it. Let's see how Mastercam handles it. So let's do depth cuts. For linking parameters, you know what? In this case, I'm thinking we're going to have to select that face, because we want to get our linking parameters right also. So you know what? Let's see what it does. Whoop. See, then we can go depth cuts. And I'm not saying this is right, but we're going to try it. I guess we could do a pocketed face. That's not what I want, though. Oh, okay. Scratch that. Calling an audible. Let's go back to our geometry, rechain all. Let's see if that works. Yeah, that worked. Did you see what I did? Yeah. So go back to your geometry, rechain all. Okay, and click on this guy here, which is the loop, and then click on one of the edges, and it'll loop it. All right, and then we accept it, and then we regenerate it. So I took it all off. I thought I did depth cuts. I'm going to save it. You guys all right? Is everybody all right? Is that what you got? Did you already lose interest? You don't care anymore. Is that what? What's at an angle? Well, it has to be. That's the way it has to be done. That's what we're doing. We're setting it up in a wedge, and we're just going to come down and face it. Yeah, but I didn't see it do it either. I think because this must be less than 1/8 of an inch. Yeah. That's just so it doesn't pick it up at the end. I guess it's just going to go in and do that. Oh, probably because down here in top of stock is 0. Okay, we want to specify what we figure that was. That's a 1/2 inch. So we want to say top of stock is 0.5. And it's incremental. Right? Well, let's go 0.25. There we go. All right, save that. Now we can verify it. And this is when it should... My computer regenerates pretty fast. Oh, I don't want that one. I want them all. I want them all. Come on, now this is just like the coolest thing ever, isn't it? Come on. And there you have it. All right. So that's dealing with the solid, that's dealing with 3D. What we learned is the critical thing is to be able to move your UCS around, name your planes, and come in and make that work. I'm going to conclude the video here.